If you've done any research on retirement options lately, you have probably seen articles on YouTube videos saying that living on a cruise ship is cheaper than assisted living. And it's got some great things going for it. Somebody cleans your room for you, makes your meals for you, entertains you, and you get to see the world. Who doesn't want that lifestyle?
I think we all want that lifestyle, but I will just say, after cruising for a long time, and I was a home health physical therapist working with older adults for 30 plus years. You know what? It's closer to more independent living for active retirees than it really is assisted living.
Well, let's talk about it today. Before we get started, we should ask a question. Have you considered doing this?
Have you thought about it?
Living on a cruise ship instead of doing assisted living? We would love to know in the comments whether you have. And maybe at the end of this video, whether you think it's a great idea or not.
I mean, if you look at it on paper, it definitely could be cheaper.
Yeah, so cruises, and we're just giving you middle of the road averages for what you could probably do. It's going to depend on the ship, it's going to depend on where you live on land. But cruises, let's say $3,000 to $4,000 a month, and assisted living, more like $4,500 to $7,000 a month.
Yeah,
but they're not the same.
They're really not the same. You know, when you look at that comparison, just a quick one, it looks the same. When you get kind of more deeper into it, you realize they are different.
Yeah, so look at the graphic that's up on the screen right now. You're going to see that there are a lot of things included in an assisted living that are not included in cruise care. So the key difference...
Right. The key difference is when you look at a cruise ship, it's designed for vacationing. It's not designed for living. And it doesn't really give you that level of care and support.
It doesn't.
No.
No. Okay, so the care is different for sure on a cruise ship. When you're in assisted living, they're there to help you if you fall in the shower. Your cabin steward actually is not even allowed to touch you to help you get up. You have now become a medical emergency, like you hear over the loudspeakers, right? There's a lot they can't do for you. They cannot sort your medications for you. They can't zip up your dress if your arthritis is acting up. There is a strict no-touch policy on cruise lines.
Yeah. That's where the change between independent living and assisted living really matters, because now someone has to help you.
Yes. In fact, another thing that a lot of people don't realize is cruise lines can literally refuse to let you board. Or if you're already on there, you're living there and your circumstances are changing and they're noticing these things that you need help with, or maybe incontinence issues that are creating a bigger housekeeping job than is standard. Basically, they can put you off the ship. So at the next time it ends, or even mid-cruise if it's really bad. But they have a policy where you have to be fit to travel. And if you're not, it's too big of a liability for them. It's too big of a risk for you. And so you may end up someplace you didn't want to end up, kind of stranded.
Right, and it makes sense for safety, because if you think about it, if you can't quickly, safely evacuate from the ship and there's an emergency, yeah, that's a huge problem. Right, I mean, you got to be able to be safe on the ship.
Yeah, and they are not set up to give you constant care. And if you start needing it, they're going to say you need to stop cruising.
Right. And I think for everybody, but especially for older adults, there's three things that you really have to consider about cruising. And there's what keep you independent versus not independent. And the first one, falls. Falls is one of the most serious causes of loss of independence in older adults.
Yeah.
Let's face it, it just happens.
Falls is something Tim warns me about multiple times a day on every cruise we're on, because there's slippery surfaces, there's steep ramps, there's wet surfaces, there's rough seas where you're having trouble with your balance.
Floor's moving.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things. And in fact, I have fallen. I'm not even 60 yet. I fell down the stairs on a cruise ship. Thank God I didn't get hurt. But we travel full time.
Mm-hmm.
We know we're one fall away from destroying our lifestyle.
Absolutely. And so, I'll look at a fall, and that's something that you can kind of prevent, but it's still going to happen. Mm-hmm. The next thing that's really a big concern are sudden health changes. And this is something you're probably not going to prevent so much. That's your strokes, your heart attacks, maybe meningitis even, some type of sickness that comes on.
Yeah, but if you already know that you're kind of borderline on these things, and your doctor's like, be careful not to overexert yourself because you're kind of a heart attack waiting to happen. Those kinds of things. This is not where you want to be. Mm-mm. You don't want to be the person being evacuated off the ship.
No, you don't.
Because medical evacuations blow up this budget. Mm-hmm. Whatever savings you may have had, it's gone. Right. Medical evacuations, $40,000 to $100,000
easily.
Sometimes you have to pay cash up front. Do you even have that? And it's hard to get travel insurance the older you get. It gets more expensive or more limited. So that's only helping to a degree.
Right.
What's the other thing we have to worry about?
I think medical complexity. So when we talk about medical complexity, if you're someone who's on multiple medications that need management, and I'm not saying looking at them from the standpoint of, I have to take these medicines every day, but these are medicines that may be altered, month by month or, year by year when you go in for your doctor's appointments. It's going to be a lot harder because now you're having to manage something that the ship isn't designed to do.
Now, there is medical care on the ship. I will tell you, just to be seen for anything, you're looking at $250 to $400. Mm-hmm. If it's a big thing, you're looking at a lot more than that. You're on an IV, you're there for 3 days, they're doing an ultrasound, this is going to skyrocket, right?
Right.
But also, they're not there to manage your ongoing medical issues. Mm-hmm. No, definitely not. And in fact, your insurance may not cover any kind of ongoing medical issue. You got to be really careful with travel insurance on that.
Right.
So medical centers on board are just designed to treat urgent care issues. They don't do management of medical situations.
No, not at all. Something else that may surprise you is that your medical insurance, especially if you're on Medicare, it's not covering any of this.
No, Medicare does not work outside the U.S., and most medical insurance doesn't either. So, if you think that yours does, you better check that carefully, because it probably doesn't.
Well, and if you think about it, like for us and a lot of older Americans, we're using travel insurance while we're out there. That's for emergency only.
Yeah, that's also for emergencies. That's so you've really got to think about these things. And now let's say that you are living full-time on a cruise ship. What about your medications?
Right. So you're going to need to get, for some medications, you're going to need to get prescriptions, right? Mm-hmm. And if you need to get a prescription, you need to go see a doctor. So that's going to be a cruise port experiment. You're going to get off the ship, you're going to go see a doctor, you're going to get a prescription, you're going to get back on the ship, all in about 8 hours.
And do you have time to get that prescription filled yet? Because the next country isn't going to accept that prescription. So we know this for a fact. We travel full time.
It's something we deal with.
Tim actually takes a medication that's hard to get. Some medications, like I'm on thyroid and cholesterol, those sometimes are easier than the U.S. You just walk into a pharmacy and buy them.
Buy it over
no
the counter.
prescription needed. But Tim is on a little more hard to find medication, and it can take several days of getting a referral, special ordering it at the pharmacy, etc. And some places he can't get it at all.
Right, and that's specific to my situation. I always have to see a doctor in order to get the prescription.
But if you are on a long list of medications, this might be a really important consideration for you.
Absolutely.
And this is why being full-time on a ship is difficult, really, for anyone who's on medications of any age.
Absolutely. Somebody who probably is watching this video right now, or should be watching this video, are adult kids who are planning for their parents' retirement.
And I know, as adult kids, it's very tempting to say, Mom and Dad, I'll pay for you to live on a cruise ship instead of assisted living because that's a lot cheaper.
And we know that you loved cruise. We know that you
Yeah.
love adventure, so it'd be great for you.
And they'd enjoy it so much more. They really would. But if they are at that stage where they need real assisted care, this might really become a bad thing, not
Right.
only for them but for you as their children.
Right, and why it becomes a bad thing for you as the children is because if there is a medical emergency and they're in South America and get put off in Buenos Aires, guess where you're taking your next vacation?
Yeah, they're going to need a little help. And if you're not the adult children, you are on your own as a retiree. This
Right.
is also something to think about, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, medical care around the world is good. We use it all the time.
Absolutely.
It is cash pay. It tends to be cheaper, and you tend to have a lot of English speaking done.
Yeah.
But in an emergency, these aren't things you want to find out that are not the norm.
Right, that's true. And it's not even just the emergencies, it's just getting around on ship.
Those are some long hallways.
You have to think about this. If you're using an assistive device, or you just have really bad knees or a really bad back, or whatever, you're walking long distances just on the ship. If you have an assistive device, the elevators can really be an issue.
Right, especially if you're using like a scooter or a walker because you're going in there and people are running in and running out and not everybody is polite and waits for you. And something to think about, and this should not ever be the case, but I'm just going to tell you from experience, it is that when you are someone who's on a scooter and you're getting on an elevator or you're already in the elevator, there's a stigma with that. And there's a lot of people who really, for lack of a better term, kind of have this stink eye approach to you because they're in a hurry and you're in the way.
It's horrible and it's wrong, but it does exist. Another thing, on one of our recent cruises, there was a lady with a wheelchair and they shut all the elevators down for the drills,
Right.
Which is a normal thing. They do drills all the time. And she was like, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
And what if this was a real emergency? I'm like stranded here. So there are some measures in place, of course, on a ship for helping people who need that kind of help in a real emergency.
Correct.
But I'm just saying, it is something to consider.
It
It's
is.
just to be aware of.
Right, you got to remember you're in large crowds, so people are bumping into you, and like we talked about, the floor is always moving on a ship when it's rocking back and forth, and these are just considerations to think about.
Another thing is getting on and off the ship, and that is where, especially having an assistive device, can sometimes be very limiting. In that we've been on a lot where they won't even let someone off. Because it's a tender port,
Right.
and they can't manage the assistive devices.
Right.
The other thing is, even we were at a regular cruise pier, and you could get off the ship, but you couldn't get on the shuttle into town because the bus wasn't equipped
Correct.
to handle the assistive devices, even though they had said they were. But
Right.
then they're run locally. The cruise ships don't always know exactly what they're getting. So anyways, these are just things to be aware of if this is your plan.
Right. Now, let's talk about what is the cost reality of this.
I think, yes, it's cheaper to cruise than to live in assisted living, but you're not getting assisted living services on a cruise.
Correct.
So, they're apples and oranges.
They really are. Now, if you're that independent apartment senior, then yeah, these are apples and apples, and it is something to consider.
Yeah, for regular retirement, when you're an active adult, it's a much better option than for someone who needs assistance.
Absolutely.
However, I will say that if you do need assistance, you have to think about two things. One, if you have a spouse who's providing the assistance, that's one thing. If you're thinking, I'll just take an assistive person with me to help me, that's a great idea, but now you're paying for two cabins.
Right.
And another thing is, if you are doing this and then you're suddenly widowed, which does happen, Now you're paying a single supplement.
Right.
So you're paying for 2 people, even though there's only 1 person, unless
Right.
you find one of the rare solo rooms that some cruise ships have.
And the reality is that at that same time, your income probably dropped because you're no longer receiving both Social Security checks.
Yeah, so you have to think about these things as you're planning.
Mm-hmm.
We think we have a better plan.
Yeah, so we're talking this whole time about living on a ship full time and all of that, and we like to look at travel as being, well, traveling bigger, quite honestly. And we
Yeah.
use those cruises as connectors to land so that we can explore the land. And that gives you an opportunity at that same point to do like what we're doing here in Chile, where we're seeing the dermatologist and we're having follow-up appointments and we're having different medical things going on. But at the same time, we're getting to explore.
Yeah, we're here long enough to deal with these things in the follow-up appointments, right? So that's good. In fact, next we're going to Uruguay. I need some contact lenses that have to be special ordered. We're going to be there for a month, so it's fine. I have
Right.
plenty of time. But the point being, if you live on land and on cruises like we do, so we're probably around half and half, it gives you time to like reset on land, get all your prescriptions, get any medical care you need, restock all the supplies you need at a cheap store.
Right.
You don't want to be buying stuff in the shop on the ship.
Oh, dear Lord, no.
And in fact, you can then also dip into the US more often, see your own doctors, get things done that Medicare covers. So it's kind of a happy medium, I would guess.
It really is. It's a balancing act, and that's just kind of how we like to approach it. And, hey, what do you guys think about it?
Yeah, leave it in the comments. We would love to know what you think about this topic, and would you want to do it or not? Now, if you want to learn more about living on a cruise ship, even if you are an active adult of any age, really, I guess kids would have to have an adult, so that doesn't make sense. So any active adult, right here, we're going to put a video about why we would live on a cruise ship long term, except.
Yeah, there's a few things that we haven't
other
mentioned.
Things. They have nothing to do with the medical situations. They're just things about being on a ship all the time, long term. And we have some suggestions for how to get around some of those downsides also.
Yep. And on the other side, you'll see there's a whole playlist about traveling bigger, if that's something that interests you.
How to use cruise and land and mix it up. And so check these things out. We are traveling bigger on 2 channels, and we hope you can enjoy them both. See the description below. We'll see you on the seas.
Hey guys, thanks for traveling with us. If you want to keep exploring with us, click one of the videos on your screen. And remember, don't wait for someday. Travel bigger now.